Hi everyone. In this video, I will explain what are weights in Selenium, why do we need weights, and also the type of the weight. So let's get it started without further ado. Let me actually open my slides. So the first thing is that what are the weights? If we define the weights, some HTML web elements are not loaded at the same time with the Selenium so that the Selenium can perform the actions. These elements loaded asynchronously meaning that not at the same time with the Selenium. So what do we need to do? We need to buy some time, right? We need to buy some times. We need to slow this down so that the element can fully load it on an HTML page so that Selenium can perform the action on the web elements. So that's why we are using wait. Selenium provides two types of wait. Of course, also there is another wait that comes from Java, and that's a static wait. We will talk about that too, which is not advisable. And I tell you the reason why this is not recommended to use. I will talk about that. So let's actually move to type of the wait, right? So generally in Selenium, there are two types of wait. There is implicit and explicit wait. So this is implicit wait. What is implicit wait? Implicit wait refers to as universal wait. So why it's called a universal wait? Because when you apply this type of wait, it applies to all the web elements that they want to perform the action with the Selenium. This one actually applies to all the web elements, and I will show you actually how to implement both wait, implicit and explicit. So if you move to the next slide, there is explicit wait. Explicit wait, as the name implies, it particularly applies to a single web element that you choose. You cherry pick the web element. For example, you pick specific web elements and you tell the Seleniums to wait for this. Another important feature of this wait is that these kind of waits, they are dynamic, meaning that, for example, if you specify 30 seconds for a web element to be clickable, right? So that the Selenium can click. And if the element becomes clickable within 5 minutes, within 5 seconds, then it's not going to wait for 25 more seconds. And that's it. It just cuts down the wait. That's why they are very effective, and they are called dynamic wait. All right. So in summary, why we are using wait? To slow down, to buy some time so that the elements becomes fully loaded on the HTML page. Different type of wait. We have explicit wait, implicit wait. Explicit wait particularly applies to a single web element that we choose. Implicit wait is universal. It applies to all the web elements on a web page. So let me actually show you the implementation of this kind of wait, how we can implement it. So I'm going to create a new class. So let's actually create a new class, and I'm going to call this class weights, right? So let's call this weights. All right, so I need my main method, and I'm going to copy some of parts of this code because I have already shown that in the previous video, so I don't need to write this again. This is a WebDriver setup code for Chrome. It maximizes the window and it goes to this particular website. All right, so here are our class weight, and what I do, I'm gonna paste this. So I'm pretty sure that you guys, if you watch the previous video, you already know what this part of the code is about and what it does. Okay, so how we can implement, let's start with the implicit way, right? Implicit way, as I said, it's universal. Driver dot manage timeout, and then you have the implicit wait in Selenium. So when you have the implicit wait in Selenium, just a second. So what you do over here now, you apply the amounts of the wait that you want. Let's say that I want to apply 20 seconds, right? 20 seconds. Then what I'm gonna do, I have to specify my time units. Time unit is in seconds. So I'm gonna apply 20 seconds to all the web elements, So this is basically applies to all the web elements that we want to perform actions on the HTML page. The next one, as I said, explicit wait. When it comes to the explicit wait, you're going to use WebDriver wait, then the object name. So let's say I'm going to call this wait. Then what you do, you need to create an object of this. When you create an object of this, you need to pass a driver, and then you're going to apply duration of second, and then I'm going to apply 30 seconds. 30 seconds for this one. All right. So 30 seconds. So as I said, this wait is explicitly applied to a single web element that you choose. So let's actually wait for, let's pick an element so that it waits for it, right? So I'm going to this page, to this website, and let's say I want to identify one of this element, right? So I right-click inspect, and I want to identify this web element. So I click on it. Let's see what we can do over here to so we can actually use this ID, right? We can use this ID. Let's use this ID, and the ID we have div, right? ID. And right now, so this is the ID that we picked. So this is the ID, but we need to find this is actually the parent, right? So how we can navigate to this, let me actually see how we can navigate right here. Then in that case, right here, right? So how we can navigate that, this div is the child of this div. So let's actually try this, right? Let's try this one. So we can say that, let's say, let's try with it, child access method and expand access. So then we can say colon div. So we have 35 div, right? So how we can select which one this one is about. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the 6th one, right? The element is on the 6th one. So what I can do, I can use my index, right? I can say opening bracket and then number 6, closing bracket. So right now we are at the 6, but this is not the right one. So let's try 7, right? So let's try 7. All right. So this one, why not working? So let's actually try this. Let's surround this with the parentheses, because sometimes when there are a lot of elements, you can use a parenthesis. It works in that way. And let's try number 7. There you go. All right. So now, as you can see, it's a 1 of 1. We successfully located this element with the use of the XPath. I'm also pretty sure that you already know that if you watch my video about the absolute guide to XPath. What we do in an XPath, we use 2//, which shows that it starts from the current node. Then we use the bracket, add sign, which is the selected attribute and value of the attribute. So this child is basically called XPath access. This is used when there is a dynamic element like this one. This is dynamic. We can use the child to navigate to the child of the current element. All right. So we successfully find this element. Let's actually copy that. After we copy, let's store the elements. So I'm gonna call this what? I'm gonna call this elements, right? Because the name was element. Driver dot find and then I'm going to use expat and paste that. All right. So here we store our web elements. And now, as I said, that you use explicit wait to specifically applies to a single web element that you choose, right? So now I choose this element. I want to apply wait, an explicit wait over this, right? How can I do that? I have to use the object of the WebDriver wait, which is explicit wait. I'm going to use the object. When you use the object, here is a method called until, right? You select the until, and then inside the until, there's a class called expected conditions. When you pick this class and then you press hit dot, when you hit dot, you see that there is a lot of useful method that you can use this method, right? So you can use all these methods to apply for your web elements. Right now, what I'm going to use over here, so let's say which one is actually suited, which one is we can use for this situation. So let's say I'm going to use this one, elements to be clickable, right? So elements to be clickable. I'm going to tell the through this method, I'm going to say that wait for these elements to be clickable, right? I'm going to copy this element and then pass it into the as a parameter. Oh, sorry, I didn't copy. So let's what I did. Oh, I'm gonna go back to, I think I missed the. So all right, I'm gonna copy that, and then I'm gonna pass this. All right, and then once I did that, I can use another dot. Then in that case, there are also method that comes from the Selenium. Now it say that, okay, so you want me to wait for that element to be clickable, and then what do you want to do? I'm saying that as soon as it's clickable, then click on it. That's it. So let me actually explain what's happening over here, right? So we use this explicit wait, and as I already said, we use this class and method, and we specify that wait for this element, which is element, right? This element, wait for this element to be clickable. And as soon as it is clickable, click on it. And we specify how long? 30 seconds. But also let me tell you, emphasize this, that this is a dynamic wait. If the element is clickable within 5 seconds, then it's not gonna wait 25 more seconds. That's it. It just shut down the wait. So let's actually run the script and see that. Oh, all right. There you go. It opens up a website. Oops, that's another website, my bad. All right, so I'm gonna close that. It was a source demo that I was working in the earlier video. So I'm gonna copy this. This is actually the website that we wanna test that. So let me delete that and paste it, right? Actually, I wanna do one more method that's gonna close the browser, right? I'm gonna close all the windows and browser. All right, so let's run it again. All right. Okay, let's try that again. I didn't actually see that, well, whether the clicks was successful or not. So let's see. It happens very fast. So let's see. Oh yeah, it clicked, but it was pretty quick. So now I'm gonna actually use this thread.slip so that you guys can see. I have to add the method signature to avoid the exception. All right, so what this one is actually, as I said, this is not recommended. This is called static wait. It doesn't matter whether whether the action performs or not, then it's gonna wait for that. This is static, but this is dynamic. This is recommended. Try to do your best to avoid this. But if there is no alternative, sometimes you probably end up that you're going to use this wait, but in most cases to try to avoid this. All right, so let me actually run that again. All right, click on the elements, and that's it. Wait for the 2 seconds and then close browser. There you go. So we successfully implemented both waits and type of the wait. Again, why we are using wait to buy sometimes to slow down so that all the elements get loaded on the web page. That's it about this tutorial. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.